Tonight in his State of the Union address, President Biden promised to do more to help veterans exposed to toxic burn pits while serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the White House also announced the Department of Veteran Affairs will recognize 9 respiratory illnesses as conditions that could be linked to military service. Now, according to Military Times, the VA said that move expected to benefit about 100 veterans whose claims were previously denied. And tonight, we're talking to a veteran in Colorado Springs who was exposed to those pits back in the 90s.
News 5's Natalie Chuck is joining us now in the studio with more on her story and also her struggle.
Right, Diane, and now she is using her story to advocate for others who need help. And there are plenty of them. The VA says more than 260,000 veterans have added their names to the Airborne Hazards and Open Burn Pit Registry. It identifies their exposure to burn pits and any medical conditions they have suffered from since.
When Veronica Landry cycles in her bedroom, an oxygen tube trails beside her.
A lot of people look at me and they're like, why at your age do you have to have oxygen?
This is the reality of a healthy woman who spent just 1 year exposed to burn pits in Iraq.
So everything that goes to our landfills that you're not allowed to burn in the U.S., they somehow thought it was okay to burn in a war zone.
After serving as a medic in the Army, Landry decided to work as a contractor employee alongside America's troops in 2004. It wasn't until roughly 10 years after she came home, she found herself rushed to hospital after hospital, unable to breathe.
My lungs, they looked like a long-term smoker, and I'd never smoked in my life.
She was diagnosed with constrictive bronchiolitis, a disease doctors say will eventually take her life.
That was really hard to take at 40-something years old, to be told that you have a disease that will become terminal.
And she knows she is one of thousands of people who now suffer permanent consequences from their time in the Middle East.
What hurts most is to see the young people. I'll be 50, this year, and to see someone 35 dying from cancer, it just isn't. That hurts.
Now, President Biden is showing support for the Honoring Our Pact Act, which would provide benefits to veterans experiencing a list of cancers and diseases from burn pit exposure.
And they come home, many of the world's fittest and best trained warriors in the world, never the same.
It was quite emotional to finally hear a president speak about the burn pits exposure in such a huge on such a huge platform as the State of the Union address.
Landry has already settled a lawsuit for compensation for her medical expenses. She won't see any benefits if the Honoring Our Pact Act passes, but is still advocating for it and any other sick veterans all over the country.
Everybody supports the troops. We can pay whatever it costs to go to war, right? But when the veterans come home sick with illnesses, no one wants to pay for it. This is the cost of war. This is the cost of war.
The Honoring Our Pact Act should be voted on by the House any day now. Landry says even though no amount of money is enough to make up for these veterans' health problems, families should at least be set up financially if they lose a loved one. Rob, Diane.